an Asian dude just got on the stage. Is he a scientist? Pharmacist? Medical man? I'm no scientist. Others of you may be thinking, you know what, I think he looks like an accountant. Not one of those high-flying ones, you know, the ones that move money from one suck fund to the other. No, he works for a family business. And you know what? I don't sell mobile phones either. So why am I here? Quite simple here, really. I think it is anyway. Do you ever hear those statements and assumptions that seem really implausible? Problem is I can't help taking them so seriously and literally. And if I'm not making myself clear, I'm going to paint a scene for you. You're at a dinner party, everything's going really well, it's winding down, port's been decanted, everyone's in high spirits. A cheese board arrives, you cast an angry stare at the cheese board, because it never has the Holy Trinity of cheese on it. It never has the mini baby bell. That slice of processed cheese best eaten when gently perspiring at room temperature. What about the dairy triangle? It was seduced by its silver charm, that seductive red tab, like a Parisian lady in life saying, "Pull me, love." But, you know, I haven't come to talk to you about cheese. No. Because your momentary indignation is cut short when you hear this statement within earshot. And it goes something like this. Do you know, if you leave a load of monkeys in a room, give them a typewriter, they'll produce the incomplete works of Shakespeare. You what? Monkeys, room, typewriter, Shakespeare. Yeah, I got it first time. Now, for me, I'm thinking, okay, let's think about this statistically. William Shakespeare, now he wrote over 884,000 words. That's 118,000 lines of text. Now, am I being a bit of a dullard here? Which, by the way, Shakespeare uses twice in all his works. Am I being a dullard? But does that mean that the monkeys have got to have all these words in the precise order, in the precise sequence, so you get a full sense of the 31,959 speeches in there? And what about punctuation? 138,000 commas, 27,000 colons, 16,000 question marks in the precise place. And I'm sure you agree that seems really improbable. Now, of course, if we view that through a statistical lens, you know, it's not really the issue here. The issue is that it's acknowledgement that apes actually are really intelligent. So if you think about the statement to hand, the statement is really saying that apes can use tools. Yeah, typewriter. They work in social groups, so it may have this crude hierarchy established, a division of labour. And of course, they have really complex ways of communicating with one another. I mean, eyes, facial gestures, bare their teeth. And some have been shown to use basic sign language. Now, can you all see this painting behind me? I'm just going to move out the side here. Now, this painting was done by a chimpanzee called Sophie. And as you'll see, as you can see actually, you see a real German aesthetic here. There's visual exploration and there's artistic control. So how do we tap into this creative impulse? I'd like you to meet, this is Larry, this is Gary, this is me, and Claude, who's out the shop, he's a chimpanzee, he's taking the picture. And if you're sitting comfortably, I'm going to tell you a little story of how Larry, Gary, Claude, who's out of the picture, helped me and, reproduced the complete works of Shakespeare. And my story begins in 1978. Now, 1978 is referred to as the Winter of Discontent in Britain, and this Shakespearean term is applied to a period of militancy, of secondary picketing, and wildcat strikes everywhere. And what this meant was that security in public places was really piss poor. So I wandered off to the local zoo, and I just lured Larry, Gary, Claudius out of the picture into my cargo net. Now, this is a story that's set in the 1970s, and I just want to just sort of confirm here that no nefarious methods were used, and that I'm not under the Operation U-Tree microscope in any way. But seriously though, how I did lure them was intriguing, because I used my burglartron device. And the burglartron device is something I developed after watching an episode of Scooby-Doo. And it works this way, okay? You sprinkle a load of Rice Krispies on the floor, and the Rice Krispies are actually concealing a rope, a noose, and a trigger. Now the burglar, okay, they'll kind of crunch. Now that's the warning crunch, okay? And if they carry on in their evil intent, they'll trip the trigger, the noose will wrap around their ankles, hoisting them up into an elaborate aerial dangle. Whereupon, the police would arrive with sticks and truncheons and beat them about the head, as with the culture and practice of policing in them days. Now, obviously I didn't use Rice Krispies, I used monkey nuts just to arouse their curiosity. And I do have patent pending on the burglartron. Okay? Now, moving them from the zoo to my part of London was actually a doddle, because, you've got to remember, 1978, winter discontent, London is plunged into darkness, power cuts everywhere. So we made our way past a throbbing hub of late night shoppers and office workers, back to my part of London, which I have to say, I lived in a flat and featureless part of London. In fact, if it was like a car, it'd have all the allure of the interior of an Austin Allegro. But having said that, taking to my house, they generally sort of, I suppose, created a ripple of excitement, because my mother, she whipped up a batch of samosas and onion bhajis, because I think she was genuinely happy I had real friends in the house for once. I took them upstairs to their box room where they were going to work, and the box room had an Olivetti typewriter, but plastered on the walls were, I suppose, there's an existentialist vibe here. Pictures of Jean-Paul Sartre, Albert Camus, Franz Kafka, Stan and Hilda Ogden. But really, these portraits were concealing a multitude of sins. Now, before internet porn, in the 1970s, most teenage boys had a rather familiar piece of erotica on their wall. I'm not sure if you remember this, but does anyone remember that female tennis player? Another one like that, yeah. She's got a hand here, yeah. By the way, for all you anatomists out there, her left hand is placed just to the left of the cleftal horizon. Well, I didn't obviously want them to be distracted, so they had these portraits, and it worked its charm, I suppose. The main progress was swift. They focus on the operational necessities of the task. And after about 180 days, I sensed the celebratory mood coming from the box room. And sure enough, they were ready to present me with their work. There's no real fanfare, really. So the day came when they gave me their work, and I must admit, I thought 180 days, that's really not a long time to produce the entire works of Shakespeare. And I thought then about the other literary giants who we hold to our bosom. You know, your Keats, your Byron, you know, Dickens, Orwell, Geoffrey Archer. Well, I thought, well, any of these guys would do. I wasn't too bothered. But they looked pleased with themselves. Gave me the report they had, and it was painfully thin. And I thought, what's going on here, guys? I gave you all that time, all that paper, and what's going on? But they had every right to be pleased with themselves, because there wasn't any Shakespeare in here at all. But a bloody good idea for a tea commercial. Now, you're probably wondering, what happened to these guys? This is our reunion shot. Well, Gary, the gorilla, Gary, he met a really nice bunch of people. In fact, you can see him outside Haymarket Metro, arms outstretched, spiritual magazine in each hand, extolling the virtues of finding God. But don't worry, he's just messing with the minds of those creationists. And as for Larry and Claude, well, they had a few futile years in a Sisters of Mercy tribute band. But they hit the jackpot, because they discovered cheese strings. And you know what? That's something to add to my fantasy cheese board. Thank you.
Yes. So